Oh.
Six of the Club Racing UK podcast. I'm joined once again by Nick Holmes and Stefan Marsh.
Morning.
Good evening, guys. Rob, Rob's internet is go.
Oh, you're joking.
Here we go. Now, don't worry. I'm sure it'll pick up in a minute.
Bloody thing. I'll tell you what, those of you on Sky, just don't bother. You're useless. But anyway, who's watching, we're going to come to you shortly. Once again, boys and girls, we achieved over 1,000 live views last podcast episode.
It's like you might have to host it.
I might have to host this one by the sounds of it.
Is it gone again?
You keep stopping and starting, mate. You keep stopping and starting.
Unbelievable. I'm having a disaster. I will carry on, try and carry on regardless. We had this. Oh, Rob. Right, I'm back. Let's see what we have. Let's see what we can do.
Oh, mate, this is shocking.
This is not going to work, mate. This is not going to work. Right. That's definitely not going to work. He's left.
Definitely
right. Anyway, guys, good evening. I will take over the script here. You have to bear with me a little bit. We usually let Rob host, obviously. He is the main man. So anyway, welcome everyone. Over 1,000 views again on our last show within 24 hours, and it got up to about 1,800 over the following week and whatnot. So again, massive thank you for your support for everyone coming along. The best bit is here, Steph, is my script is actually missing here. So, so you might have to do this first bit.
Which bit have you lost? The next bit?
Yeah, the next bit. Down to where we've got Red Seal Racing's link. It's not printed. So this is an absolute shit show already.
Right, can you hear me now, gents?
Yes, hello, Rob.
Hello, how are we doing this evening?
Don't leave us in the lurch like that. We've just figured out we can't do it without you.
I'll tell you what, boys and girls, I'll say it before I'll say it again. Don't get Sky Internet. It's a bag of crap. Anyway, Thank you very much for your patience there, boys and girls.
Oh,
we are going to try. Is it going again?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Go on, Steph. Steph, you take lead on that bit, mate, and then we'll I've got the rest of the script, so don't worry.
Oh, hello, gentlemen. How are we doing?
Yeah. Internet's failing.
I have a script.
Oh, go on in. Go on in. Can you lead the first bit?
Well, I think whilst we get Rob back, if Rob can hear, it might be worth you trying on your mobile, Rob. Might be a good idea that way. Get off the Wi-Fi. And one thing I can say, I agree with him. I used to have Sky Wi-Fi. I do have Sky, utter garbage. But there you go. Anyway, so if anybody from Sky is watching, if you want to sponsor MySuper Club Racing UK for super fast,
surely we want someone like Virgin or BT. Surely.
Yeah, if there's a broadband provider watching this right now, please come talk to us.
Yes.
Look, Nick, I think you just mentioned it there. So far, the podcast has been a huge success, hasn't it? This is episode 6.
Yeah. Right.
2 weeks ago, over 1,000 views. It's pushed up to 1,800, hasn't it? So sterling work by you guys. Now, 2 weeks ago, Paul Harvey was on the show, wasn't he? And there's been some wonderful messages from listeners, and it looks like he might be having a career in TV off the back of it.
He did. He was a natural, wasn't he? He was brilliant at it.
Especially when I saw him afterwards, and he had all that lighting rig and everything in his dyno. Yeah. That was a proper professional setup. Not us with the light.
Yeah.
Is Rob back? Here he is. Rob.
I'm back. I've reset my modem. I've hit it a couple of times, and hopefully it bloody works.
You're still bitty, mate.
It's still quite, it's still quite bitty.
Unbelievable. I'll tell you what, it's going to get my boot up their arse tomorrow.
Revert to your phone, mate, and let Ian carry on because he's doing a better job.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, whilst we wait for Rob to come back, should we go into the news? Because I've got the news written right here in front of me. So thank you to Rob for actually providing us with this. Right, let's have a look. Bayliss and Harding have added £15,000 worth of hand sanitizer to Motorsport UK and have planned £50,000 worth of anti-COVID PPE. So pretty good going by those guys, isn't it? I know amazing. There's... yeah, absolutely. And of course, with the racing happening this weekend, it's obviously going to be pretty important.
Well, we're going to get our first show of it, aren't we, really? To see the kind of things that have been put into place for us to go racing, and we're going to get to see it firsthand. So,
yeah. You guys are at Snetterton this weekend. Are you excited? You got your hand sanitizers ready?
Yeah. We've got pretty much everything ready to go, I think.
I think so.
Excellent. Right.
Those are masks. Also,
Dettol.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
that's our one sponsor collaboration UK. We'll have a chat about that as well.
I should like Mr. Muscle. Mr. Muscle's watching.
Get Mr. Muscle flat down the side of the car.
Yeah. Yeah, you certainly won't get muscled out of any corners there.
Nick won't, anyway.
I'm here all week. Right, final instructions and preparations have been finalised for racing to resume this week as well. That kind of coincides with the COVID and PPE, but we've all had the emails and the announcements, haven't we, about what's going to happen this weekend. Yeah. And let's move on. Ambassador alert. Nick, can I let you take over? Red Seal Racing, Patrick Seal and Daniel Seal. Can you tell us more?
Yes, so they bought a new car, which was I believe it was an ex-Brit car winning championship car. I think it was Jeff Steele Racing they bought it from. They've dubbed it Tango, and if you do get to see it, you can definitely see why. They shook it down at Brands Hatch. It's a fantastic looking car. I think it's very different from what they used to have. They used to have an E46 M3, I believe, which we were going to be sponsoring or looking after this year. And then they went out and bought this absolute animal. Shaking it down at Brands Hatch this week. A few teething problems, as with any new car. I think they had a few electrical gremlins, but later on in the day. But yeah, we're hoping to see. I think that's actually going to be at Snetterton this weekend, probably racing in the Super Cup. So hopefully we'll be able to bring some live videos and things like that of the car itself. So.
Well, talking of video of it, as you say, BMW M3, according to the script, we have a video of it, actually. Ooh. So, Elaine, if we could play the Red Seal Racing video, that would be great.
Well, that certainly sounds a business, doesn't it?
Yeah.
blinking, you miss it. So I don't know my BMWs, but I think it's powered by, is it the S54 V8 engine that you find in the more modern BMWs? But yeah, it looks serious bit of kit. I think they are obviously saying something with that purchase in the fact that they will be making a headway towards the front end of that grid. So yeah,
well, you're not going to miss it. You're certainly not going to miss it.
You'll definitely see it coming, that's for sure. So,
hence the name, I suppose. Yes. Right, let's move on. There's another ambassador alert, Rick Walker. Yes. Nick, Stefan, please tell us more.
Go on, Steph, you can have that one.
Yeah, so he's getting his JCW R56 ready for the CNC Head Saloon Championship. So he's got his new livery on the car ready to go. It's missing the Collaboration UK stickers at the moment, but we'll be sorting them out. Don't worry about that.
There it is there as well.
Yeah, look at that. It's looking smart.
Looking gorgeous, isn't it? Look forward to seeing that go around the track. That'd be
yeah. It's actually his first ever race. He's a track day enthusiast turned racing driver. He did just message these pictures actually, like probably 5 minutes ago, and he did mention the fact that he's excited but nervous. That excited but nervous feeling before any race. But yeah, we'll be we'll be following him throughout the year as well. So good luck to you, Rick. If we'll keep in touch over the weekend anyway. So yeah, car's looking great.
It is fantastic. And look, finally, on the news that we've got in the script anyway, we can talk about whatever we want now. Rob's not here. We can say anything, can't we? 750 Motor Club. They're delighted to announce that, subject to obviously the media distancing. This is something obviously that we're part of as well. Alpha Live are going to stream 2 days of the UK's most exciting and affordable circuit racing live. It's going to feature 13 Formula from single seaters to hot hatchbacks. That's the entire weekend streamed live at Snetterton. I think it's the 18th, 19th, is it, of July?
Yeah, I think so.
So, which is going to be great. And actually, just to add to this as well, because an email went around from MSV saying that spectators are going to be allowed from the 11th of July, I believe, as well, which is great because it shows things are kind of coming back to normal.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's been a quick jump, hasn't it? Like, we're racing on the 4th, and then literally the following week, spectators can come back. So it's a move in the right direction. I think as long as this weekend goes absolutely swimmingly, I think that'd be great addition, because I've seen it. There's been so many comments everywhere of everyone absolutely gutted that they can't get to their racetrack. So yeah, it's gonna be great to have people back watching all the action.
Fantastic. And it looks like we have Rob, and you look. There's no pixelating here. It looks good.
Hopefully, I had to hit it a few more times, reset it, hit it a few more times, reset it. Hopefully, it works this time.
It's looking better, mate.
Excellent. It is. Well, Rob, look, we've just finished off the news, so I'm going to let you take over. We're into the crux of it now, the main discussion. So, look, boys, I'm going to leave you to it. Enjoy the rest of the show, and if Rob goes back, loses off again, I will be here just in case. Ciao,
Thanks,
ciao. Have fun.
Ever the professional. Ever the professional. You could see him struggling there, Steph. I'm not going to lie. I was like, deer in the headlights.
Unbelievable.
Robert Lewis, don't do that to us, will you?
Well, you pay a certain amount a month for a broadband provider. You would think they would provide the basic internet needs that you pay for. However, Sky will find out about that tomorrow morning when I give them a ring. However,
that's good. Right.
We're moving on to our discussion this evening. What needs to change to make club racing better? So you put a post up in the paddock, Nick, didn't you? And,
we did. I think it was pretty soon after our last podcast. We decided that this would be a good.
I think so.
A good discussional topic.
Just as everything was getting going again, and I opened a can of worms, didn't I? Sorry, Steph. He's sat there nodding his head like, no.
No.
Just doing that now. Just staring at it.
But that said, you say we open up a can of worms. It clearly shows that there is a lot of people behind the scenes that want to say stuff but don't necessarily have the platform to say it. And that's pretty much why we set up Club Racing UK, was it not?
That is very true.
Come back, Ian.
Rob, get on your phone.
I'll get on my phone, chaps. No worries.
Yeah. That's terrible.
Bless him.
There we go.
That is why we set up.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to grow a beard in 2 weeks' time, so I look a bit more and grow my hair a bit longer and look like Rob. So we could just flit in and out.
So we could just flit him out. No one will notice. No one will notice.
No one will notice. No one will notice at all.
Lovely.
So that Steph, Robert was just saying there, he put a question out. You got quite a big response about what needs to happen to make club racing better.
Yeah, we did. Nick got the post out on there. So loads of people messaging what they thought, what they would like to see change. So should we start going through some of them? I'm going to have to read off the thing though.
Yeah, well, the first is cost. Cost is obviously, it's always going to be a big bone of contention, isn't it? So we had a comment from Jason Powell, who said cost will always be the divisive factor in motorsport, in my opinion. Entry fees for both participants and spectators, license fees, etc. If Motorsport UK saying last year they wanted to help grassroots motorsport, then go jack the cost of a license renewal, in my opinion, does the opposite, knowing full well the guys didn't renew their license to do a couple of meetings because it's not worth it. For many, it's a hobby or a passion, and yet it seems the powers that be want to treat everyone like Mercedes and F1, where you can throw money at it. So, is it a fair comment?
Yes, I think it's a very fair comment. I mean, it's a tough one, isn't it? Cost is always going to be a factor. Unfortunately, we can't go racing at the weekend for £5.62 and come away with some change. It's an expensive sport. End of story. You're never going to change that.
But we know that, don't we? We know that anyway. You can't go to Sports Direct and pay £2 for a football. You can't go and buy a race car in Sports Direct for a tenner.
No. If I did, I'd be there. It's unfortunately.
If Mike actually watching.
We did on the podcast, I can't remember which one it was now, a couple ago, and did all the costings to try and get your bang for your buck on racing. And when you go through the full list, you can work out that there is some series that obviously they're never going to be cheap, but they're a lot better priced than others. So it's kind of, I think, probably doing your research, making sure that you've got your car where you want it and the series you want for what kind of price you want to drive for, and then you can kind of make it work.
This is it.
Unless you're never going to get every race series. Ultimately they're a business and they want to make money, so it's very difficult to get.
And
they're competing against each other.
It's trying to get that happy medium, isn't it? It's trying to get that happy medium, because at the same time, obviously, they've got to pay for the staff, they've got to pay for the venue.
Exactly. They've got to pay for their licenses, their insurance.
Yeah, that's it. So there's lots of costs. I totally agree with Jason with the price hike. I know I spoke to Motorsport UK about it, and they did explain, obviously, the reason for the price hike, the massive price hike, was the fact that they didn't factor in the fact that people were doing sprints, hill climbs, and things like that. The thing I didn't agree with was the fact that it was us guys, the like National B or Interclub as it is now, the lower end of the scale, that literally, I think it was 33%, wasn't it? We got a 33% price hike. I don't get.
Huge.
This is it. I don't get why the guys at the lowest end of the scale got the biggest hit. As was mentioned there by Jason, is the fact that it put people off. It hiked the price up massively.
Yeah.
Where the top tier guys, like international C drivers, GT drivers, not being horrible, people with money, they got, I think, something like a 4% hike. So it's not going to. It didn't affect them. I think it could have been done fairer. Again, I don't own a business. I don't run a racing club, so I don't know. There may be justifications behind it, but it certainly hurt the guys that we cater for, club racing, massively. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Rob,
gents, I'm back. I've made an appearance.
I am not holding any hope for you whatsoever.
Well, you wouldn't be the first person to say that, to be honest, but just cashing on to your discussion there about cost, that was the one thing that sort of got to me as well, is the fact that not just, okay, things need to come up a bit, you have inflation and stuff like that, but it's the people that it was going towards, and it kind of felt like a bit of a slap in the face.
Has it gone again?
What is? Get off your Wi-Fi,
Rob. Just, I think you're gonna
do it on 4G, Rob. Get off your Wi-Fi and do it off your 4G on your phone if you can.
He's gonna have to sit this one out.
Has he got 4G?
I have got 4G, 3 bars.
Get on it. That's what I'm on. Get on it.
Right. I'm on it now. I've just come off the internet, so.
There we go.
Yeah, going back to that, I'll tell you what, the audio of this is going to be really good, isn't it?
It's better than it was.
But yeah, yeah. I mean, going back to the cost element, I mean, there was a lot of people that have said to me, like, oh, if you think that motorsport's going to be cheap, you're laughing. I'm like, yeah, but you can cut your cloth to suit your needs. I will not go and get a hotel on a race weekend. I'll be honest, when I first raced the Focus, I kipped in the back of the tow car with the missus in a blow-up bed. It was snug, and it was quite fun, but, it's better than going to spend £100 on a hotel room. It's little bits like that all add up, which for me, as a working bloke, I'm on just under 30k in my job. I've got bills to pay, but I can still go out and do the sport that I love.
Yeah, That's it. I mean, it works both ways, doesn't it? I mean, we have to, save money where we can, as again what me and Steph have set up with the discount scheme and things like that. Shop around, but money can be saved from our point of view. I think obviously everybody's gripe mainly was the fact that entry fees are constantly increasing, and it's just so on and so forth, and it's it just seems to be pricing everybody out of the market. Not everybody, I mean, the select few, but
it's significant enough for people to take notice.
Yeah, and there's been a comment from Stu Waite. I'll dip out in a minute, let you take back over, Rob. But Stu Waite just said license should be a rolling 12 months and valid for 12 months from date of renewal. Do we agree with that? It makes sense to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I did the same in 2016 and 2017 because I didn't quite have the money and wanted to make some adjustments to the car. I didn't go racing until June, but I paid for a year's license that effectively lasted me 6 months.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't see why they couldn't do a rolling 12 month for the fact that, as you say, if you get your license in June, fantastic, rolls until, I mean, bigger for you really, because obviously from October, for 6 months of it, we're not racing. But if it rolls on and you decide to do this whole season the next year, you're going to have to renew your license midway through the year. So surely they'd end up making a bit more money if they let it be a rolling one. But
well, the thing, from what I was told as well, apparently even the Australians, they do it. CAMs do it. A lot of other racing organisations around the world do it as a rolling 12 months.
Yeah.
There's even.
To be honest, can you name a subscription out there that doesn't roll for a year or a monthly?
Yeah, that's true.
You can't.
Off the top of my head,
why would you? I see. Maybe someone from
Sky
UK can explain.
My fishing license doesn't run for a continual year.
Fishing,
just putting it out there.
But does that hamper you though, Steph? Does it hamper you?
No, because it's considerably cheaper than a race license. But it's the same thing, if I didn't start and then I started midway through the year, it would lost half a year and you can't get it back. So it is a bit strange. But I don't know. Are they trying to?
We will try and get the answer to that. We'll try and get the full-on answer to why.
It sounds to me, guys, the way that they run the business is that they get a big cash injection at the start of the year and then they budget from that. That's kind of obviously how they potentially run their business, and right or wrong, it looks like that's how they do it. They know every January they're going to get a huge cash injection from people applying for race licenses, and then it goes out from there for the rest of the year. So, but if you just did it rolling, it would drip feed in, wouldn't it? And like you say though, Nick, it might work in their favour to do it that way. But short term, they'll take a cash flow hit if they were to suddenly change and do that.
Mm. I mean, the other thing,
right, guys, I'm gonna let you carry on. Look, now Rob's back, but I'll still be here just in case. Enjoy.
Thanks, Ian.
Fingers crossed.
If we have to call on Ian one more time, Rob, I'm sacking you. You'll be gone.
Unbelievable.
Don't come back until you're on Virgin or other internet providers. Other
internet providers are available.
Go on, mate. Go on to the next one.
We're looking at dilution of series. AJ Owen made the point. Peter Birchall made the point. Several others made the point about championships being duplicated, regs being copied and pasted, creating other championships as a direct result. Now we're not looking to drag any clubs or anyone through the mud. But it is something I know. I mean, the one thing I noticed straight away, Mazda MX-5s. Okay? There is a series, a number of series with the BRSCC, the BARC, and the 750 Motor Club. That's literally 3 different places for one car.
Yeah.
Now, if you've then got those grids that are running, I know the BRSCC series is quite big grids. I know Max 5 started to struggle a little bit. 750 Motor Club had reasonable grids. I was talking to someone in the pits at Brands Hatch who was testing their MX-5 car, okay, and they ran in the BRSCC series. Now, you would think that he would be able to pick up his MX-5 and go, right, I'm going to go and race in that series now. But to do that, he had to change his tyre provider, so he's got to spend more money and change his tyres, or he's got to spend more money and change his shocks, otherwise he's considered not eligible.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's kind of one of those things that, unfortunately, the one thing you also find out is the MSA have their hands tied.
Yeah.
Because technically, if they turn around to anyone that goes to start their own championship and say, right, you're not starting your own series, here's why, X, Y, Z, blah, 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 they can turn around and go, okay, that's fine. I can appeal it and win it because it's seen as being unjust.
Yeah.
I think it's to do with there's some sort of court ruling somewhere that makes it tough.
I mean, it's a tough one. I mean, dilution of series 100% needs to be sorted out. I don't care what anyone says. It needs to be sorted out. The fact that you can go off, as you say, we use Maz as an example again. Now, let's use another car. Honda Civic Type R. There's bloody loads of them everywhere. You got the Type R Championship. You got the Civic Cup, things like that. But so as you say, it's the copy and pasting of a series. They're so alike, but they're run away from each other. And as we see all too often is normally when there is a divide and a break of these series, you then halve the grids or even less than that. So I really think series is like that. They kind of just one or the other organizer needs to take it on the chin and be like, look, we can't run this series. These guys will run this series. Too bad. You can't keep copying and pasting. It's no fun. I want to see a little bit of excitement, something different, something exciting, something that isn't already out there.
Yeah, because unfortunately, you then you then get the problem where you effectively have, I don't know, 3 grids of 10 cars. And you can have one grid of 30, which is packed. It means that, okay, this is not the most important, but it means that the club may be able to make a bit of money to keep themselves going, to keep themselves current. Very important now we found out with what happened with COVID. You've also got the fact that, it could potentially bring down entry fees because they can go, right, okay, well, we've got 30 cars entering every race round, so we could maybe knock a little bit off, which then has the roll-on effect. They can have more cars, maybe get into a reserve list. Okay, we've got into a reserve list. Have we then got enough to justify running 2 grids?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean, boys? And then you have, the BRSCC MX5 series. I mean, we're talking 10 years ago now when I was doing mechanic stuff with the Porsches. You would regularly see 3 full grids of those Mazdas.
And that's what you want to see. I mean, that could be the other end of the scale, isn't it? Is if the likes of or if organisers can't host as many of the cars there's probably hundreds of Mazda race cars out there. Maybe then the organisers could probably, get together a little bit and be like, look, we can't fully host 100 Mazdas. Can you help us? Instead of bloody going, oh, no, my Mazda series over here is better because we use different tyres. Come and race with us.
Yeah. You turn it into a tier system then when you've got like classes.
That's what we need. A ladder.
Yeah. And there needs to be a bit of soul searching now within the club racing fraternity, I think, just to go, right, we need to keep club racing sustainable because it's not getting cheaper. Again, we go back to the cost factor.
Yeah.
You need full grids, but to get full grids, you need to keep the cost down because people will be attracted by that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You bring people, not being funny, I wouldn't go to a grid with 5 cars on it and the bloody entry fee was 400 odd quid. You wouldn't do it. If you get the opportunity of being on a grid, I mean, this is only me speaking for myself. If I was on a grid of 30 cars and it was all competitive, I'd much prefer to be racing on a packed grid with somebody than, I don't know, winning a 5 grid race. Woo! I won against 5 other cars, but I don't know. Just, you know what I mean? I don't know. Some people do go out there and trophy hunt, don't they? But surely racing is fun, exciting, packed grids, all there for the same reason. But it boils down to there's some egos in this sport. I mean, there's egos in any sport, but we need to all sit down and go for that common goal, don't we? That common common ground of just getting cars on the track racing.
Yes, and Ben Griffiths comments, Civic Cup got out of control, turned into money to compete. Trophy is a cheap alternative. I think you're on about the Type R Trophy.
Yeah.
He comments as well, the C1s, the top 5 runners are teams with at least one pro driver. Again, money. Cy Pendlebury has just commented as well, could the series not be made to amalgamate? Again, it's one of the things we would probably need to speak to the MSA about, whether they have it in their power to do that.
Yeah. I think they need to. I think they need to look at. I mean, they're the governing body. At the end of the day, if they see dire grids, they should be saying, "Look, you get these numbers up," or I don't know. I don't want to name drop any organisers, but this organiser over here will get this grid. You will not host it.
Yeah.
You know, they need a bit more oomph behind them, I think, because it is just so free to just go, oh, I'm going over here and making my own club.
There we go. So from that, we move on to internal costs with different series suppliers. This came up. Nick Bailey of Scuzzle Motorsport made the point. Biggest issue for me is championships doing backhanders with companies, cars that must be remapped by one tuner, etc., etc. He believes it's really wrong. If all the cars are tuned the same, then the tunes should have been left factory. Either that, or you allow anyone to do a map with the modifications you're allowed. Thoughts, gentlemen?
Yeah, I mean they've got all the facilities now to stick them on rolling roads and stuff like that. And we're talking in that particular case. So if you've got a power to weight ratio set up, then why does it matter who's mapping it, who's doing what? At the end of the day, they have to be the same anyway. I mean, if it's not that case, then again, it should be anyone. If you're unlimited and things like that. In mapping terms, anyway.
Yeah, and I had several people message me as well in terms of tyre suppliers for certain series. Again, I'm not going to name names in this case. We stay neutral as usual, gents.
Yeah.
But there are some series where they say, right, you've got to run this certain tyre. Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. If anything, level playing field. Everyone's got the same thing. Bish bash bosh. There we go.
Yeah.
However, it then says in the regs. Yeah, that idea is great. And then turn around and go, oh, but you can only get it from this supplier.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and then you sort of do your homework, and I did. And then you look at the supplier's price, where you can quite easily go elsewhere and get it exactly the same tyre in exactly the same price. Now, okay, we're talking 15, 20 quid in some cases, maybe less, maybe a bit more. But you add that up.
Yeah.
Over time.
You got 4 tyres in 4 corners, so it adds up. That's it. I agree. Like I say, control tyres, control parts. I totally agree with that. But I know why it is. We all know why it is, because you're looking after companies. Series are looking after companies in return for.
And I suppose as well, to look at the opposite side of that. Companies want to get their name out there. They're most likely sponsoring the series, so they're putting extra money into the series to sponsor it. That's fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
But again,
at 100% at that point, the price should never be more than anywhere else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You shoehorn everyone into one place, then the price should reflect that. I think
should
and
be
come down slightly.
It should be cheaper if you're if
you're getting all the business.
That's it. If you're sorting out the deal, then
you go on the internet and you can find it cheaper elsewhere. It's rather annoying.
That is where it's super frustrating. And then,
and on this, I mean, Carl Graves has commented, in some cars, like this is to the mapping bit that Nick Bailey mentioned, in some cars you have to map out issues you will have when you make it a race car. So I can only assume, I don't know, maybe you have to fit a certain exhaust part or stuff like that.
Well, they're one series BMW, and I imagine had a million fault codes because BMW have 30,000 codes for the fact that your seatbelt's not on. Something stupid like that. But
I know they have an issue with indicators not working. I don't know if Carl can comment on that, to be honest, but I know they have an issue with indicators. BMW have been working on it for about 30 years and they can't get anywhere with it, but we shall see. He also mentioned that the MSA do have a way of removing championship status when when the numbers fall too far. So I think it gets to a point where, they'll say, okay, you've got 3 on a grid, or you've got 5 on a grid, or whatever. We're not going to give you championship status anymore. Basically, sort your rear end out.
Yeah, but we need to see that more.
Yeah, I think they need to get a bit more stern on it.
Yeah, because going back, backpedaling a little bit, that slot where you have a very few amount of cars could be used for someone else racing, or a longer race or something like that. That slot could be. There's no way they can't fill grids. There's hundreds of race cars in the UK. Surely that's a wasted slot. In places, but maybe
exactly.
We should give it a go, guys. Maybe we should organise our own race series. We'll see how easy it is.
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, we're looking at it as a consumer. We're not looking at it as an organizer. It was bad enough when we organised the virtual sort of. Well, that was a bit more of a headache. But we have just some more comments here as well. Patrick Seal, our ambassador, commented, "Power test post race if there's a suspicion. Easily done. Unfortunately, with that, okay, again, I'm looking at it from the other side. You have to pay for someone to be there with a dyno. So, it's all the way up." Patrick Seal also commented he had a £200 price difference between our tyre supplier and the online price. £200.
Yeah,
that's ludicrous. That is ludicrous. That is nigh on a race entry for someone, or at least
that is.
Yeah.
That is. Jay Finley has also commented, "We have our suppliers stop selling us tyres due to a company being a championship sponsor, and they were £10 a tyre more." Okay, so that's 40 quid more for a set of tyres. It's those little increments that can stop people going racing.
And it is, I mean, someone feel free to comment if I'm out of place here, but it's purely because you're looking after someone. They're looking after a mate. As Steph pointed out, if someone comes in with the right intentions of offering a fantastic deal for the championship, and they cannot be beaten on price, brilliant, go for it. But then to see the fact that you go online and you can pick up your R888s for whatever other tyre choices are available, for
it just annoys everyone, doesn't it? You instantly know that they're just making money off you.
Yeah.
And to put it bluntly, you sort of leave the circuit with a bit of a bad taste in the mouth. And in cases, I've known people that have gone, you know what, and it's put people off going to certain championships because you've had to do that.
Yeah, of course it will.
Carl Graves comments, EW, I think this is following on from the point he made about the remap. So he's got EWS deletes, etc. And yes, it did. So we use an SCS Delta ECU to get the best from it. I think he's on about his 130. He's also asked what an indicator is. Stalk on the left-hand side of the steering wheel, Carl. Normally a clicking sound and 2 little green lights that come up. Just let us know if you find one. It'd be interesting. Simon Pendlebury wants to go off subject and give Nick a telling off.
What have I done now? It did come up that he mentioned me in a comment, but I can't see it because I'm in the middle of this.
For not social distancing, meeting us when we collected our 206 GTI from the Bournemouth area. Also, the reason we moved from entering the Coupe Cup was because a lot of the parts had to be bought from specific suppliers, making it harder as we have companies that want to sponsor us with parts. That can be difficult. Ross Craig has also commented, making the point, who gives the biggest backhander will always win him. Again, we go back to money talks.
Yeah. But it needs to look after the competitors. We're the guys using the product.
Yes.
Like I say, what is the point of having your sticker or your company brand name all over your race car? Buy this suspension. It's fantastic, but it's stupidly expensive for us. You're not going to sell it, are you? You're going to say, I use this, but you can get it cheaper over here.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, money talks, even for us guys. Money talks getting people in, but again, I'm always going to try and buy. If I can buy the same product cheaper, I'm going to, and I'm sure hundreds of other people will as well. So, and it's going on. It doesn't necessarily have to be cheaper. If the service, for instance, is fantastic, I don't mind spending a little bit more money. But I don't know. The experiences I have had with companies that sponsor championships, etc. Sometimes it's been because they've pigeonholed themselves into one hole. They can't cope. When you've got 30, 40 people saying, "Oh, I need this now," you then struggle and then you haven't got the parts. So,
of course, Benjamin Griffiths has offered to backhand Ross Craig. So yeah, we'll let you two organise that.
Oh, fight.
Mark Bate. Oh no, I think he's on about the other kind of backhand you can give. Mark Bate has commented. As an organiser, you need to be able to look your drivers in the eye and be honest. Sponsors pay organisers. They then want that money back. It's basically selling out your drivers. It's a good point. I know it kind of walks hand in hand, but you need to be able to come across to people and go, yeah, it's difficult. You know, it's that point where you think, okay, they're scheming us out of a bit more money here. But I mean, Andrew Schofield does put the point across: should the organisers not be able to earn money? Yes, but I mean, what are the organisers there for? To create the racing. If the racing, if the grids die down because people, to put it simply, people get pissed off, they'll leave.
Yeah, we should just point out, obviously, if the formula is working. If you're sponsored by companies and they're supplying a great product for a great price, then by all means, you can make money as long as everybody in the little bubble is happy. Competitors are happy.
You got a comment from Stephen Richardson saying K-Tech Clio Championship is a fair grade. All engines and gearboxes are standard. K-Tech supply and update the map every race. K-Tech offer all drivers a great discount that they can't find cheaper anywhere else. And the grid is 1.5 seconds a lap between top to bottom. So, that's how it should be.
That's where it should
work, really.
And the great thing is, and the prime example for this is, if you say to someone, Clio, Renault, something like that, instantly. I mean, even me, I'm not a Renault driver. Straight away, as soon as you say something like that, bang, K-Tech is the place to go.
Yeah.
If people have the same kind of service for K-Tech, by the way, I'm not getting paid for saying this, then the custom will come. You'll make money. It's just it's frustrating for people when you see people literally just piling in the money and they don't want to help out with it. I think that needs to.
Now we could spend all night on this topic, gents. So I'll move us on.
Well, no, we did say this was going to open up.
we did say it was going to open up a can of worms. I mean, personally, when I wrote the script for this, what I wanted to do was create. Not the argument, but just get people talking more at events about this sort of thing. Because at the end of the day, we're all going to benefit from this if we can get the grids up, if we can get, if you like the K-Tech Clio Championship, if you can get a system like that in all championships that works well for everyone, that is cost effective, that doesn't, to put it bluntly, take the piss.
Yeah.
Everyone walks away a winner. The organisers make a little bit of money for themselves. The suppliers get their name out there. They get people trying their product. 99% will be very happy with their products.
Yeah, it's just good business, isn't it? It's good business.
Yeah, Andrew Schofield makes the point, costs should be controlled so people can't spend money trying to buy an advantage. If that means tyres cost a tad more, that is better than a championship imploding.
Yeah.
You say control the costs. I mean, I'm hoping he means like you say to them, right, you can buy 6 tyres for X amount of races, and then they stamp them. So it's a case of, right, we know you've only got those 6 tyres and you're not spending a load of money putting a new set on every race.
That side of things definitely works. I mean, there's there's different angles for different championships. Again, championships where it is you used a set tyre that don't have a cap on it. Obviously, the people with more money can literally just go tyres, fresh tyres every weekend. I know people that let a set of tyres last an entire year. Obviously, the guys putting new tyres on every year are going to have a better advantage. So yes, things like that need to be implemented in places for sure.
Yeah, Patrick Steele has come back. To be fair, to be fair, our supplier did knock off the £150 delivery charge when we challenged it. Okay, that's fair enough. It shouldn't have to take you to go, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
That's not, it should be a case of, right, it's going to cost X amount, but we'll knock this off for you. People need to be trying to.
But that said, if that customer service, if he's enjoyed his experience of customer service there, you'll be inclined to go back.
Exactly.
If they can help out, I think everybody can mutually benefit if it's done right, isn't it?
Exactly. Everyone's a winner. Now, let's move on, chaps. The next one is working to get more spectators at club racing.
Oh God, this one's insane.
Well, the one thing I would say, if you want to look at a model that bloody works, Castle Combe Racing Club in the southwest. Okay, everyone talks a bit funny, but it's in a lovely corner of the country. But you go to any of their club meets, and I mean any of their club meets, the banks are packed, and it's club racing. It's not the British GT. It's not the British touring cars. It's club racing.
But just as you've just said that there, for someone who's, say it was the first time you'd ever walked into Castle Combe to come and watch, I don't know, the Combe Saloons, for instance, you wouldn't know the difference if it wasn't the British GT, BTCC or something like that, because the crowds are huge.
No, you wouldn't. And you've still got top-class drivers.
100%. It's something Castle Combe do very well, and it's something a lot of other circuits could definitely take note for.
And it's somewhere we will also cover in a future podcast, gents.
Yes, 100%.
But we did have we had a lot of comments on this though. Advertising. Colin Dunn mentioned advertising of club level events to spectators. Nobody even knows most of the events are happening. That's is criminal. A great point.
That is absolutely criminal, especially in this day and age. You've got social media coming out of your ears. Okay?
Yes.
I mean, not being funny, kids of like 8 years old now have their own bloody phone and their own tablet and stuff, probably on social media and stuff like that. So why wouldn't you use it?
Exactly.
Yeah. There's no.
And Chris Hignall made the point. You came to social media, Nick. Yeah. Chris Hignall made the point. There's no excuse with social media these days. We get thousands watching again. So we're back to Castle Combe. We get thousands watching us at Castle Combe. The circuit also advertises with leaflets, news, media, and competitions on the radio, etc. Yes. Perhaps some clubs and circuits need to do better, but it's better than it's ever been. Yeah. I could agree with that last point, and I think social media has helped. But again, we could do more.
Getting the local communities to them tracks involved, because that's the people that are going to turn up and and watch each weekend, don't they? So
yeah, totally. I mean, again, we've actually had quite a few comments on this subject alone. I mean, you're not going to watch British GT. You're not going to watch the BTCC. So you haven't got like the superstars in your town or your local circuit, but. So don't charge the same price as you would if you had a huge following coming in.
And again,
it's a club racing event.
Yeah, and then again, we go back to that age-old thing of cost, don't we, gents? And it's one of those. Ben Rushworth commented: start doing free entry and kit up weekends with fun fairs, pop-up markets, kids' activities, and independent catering. Get the crowds in for free and charge a fee for the pitch. So, I made the comment when we started this segment about MSV. So, we have a show, Full Power Live. They do the Italian Day. Mm-hmm. They do. I think they still do the Porsche Day. They still do Euro NASCAR. So it's another major series, but again supported by club racing. Yeah. So. I went to the American Speed Fest a couple of years ago, and it was fantastic. Mm-hmm. But if I turned around and said to the average Joe that was like, "Oh yeah, the Formula One's back this weekend," if I turned around to them and said, "Well, the classic touring car, Barker running a meeting at Cadwell Park," and he'll go, "What's that?"
Yeah.
Well,
I mean. Yeah, you just open the gate. You're not sure. I mean, again, I don't run a business, so please correct me where I'm wrong. But we're all there. We're all racing. Open the bloody gates. Let people come in and watch the racing. Buy a can of Coke. Buy a burger. Buy something. Have an ice cream van there, like Ben said. Have a little fun fair. Even get your local car clubs involved.
But, I mean, I think letting people in for free is unrealistic, really. But I mean, you've got to charge a few quid, $5 maybe, whatever it is. I mean, they're still going to have to pay people to, I don't know, parking attendants and other people come around and sort the bins out and all the rest of it, clean the toilets and stuff like that. So,
but they have those people there already.
Well, yeah, but if you invite, I don't know, argument's sake, a couple of thousand or 1,000 people in, you're going to have to up that, aren't you?
Yeah, but then from the flip side, the circuits, obviously, the money they make from club racing, they make from the competitors. They make the gate money where they have the major series in. Now, what if they turned around and said, okay, kids come in for free, anyone up to the age of 16, which I believe a lot of circuits do already, to be fair to them. But for the adults, the main bit that's going to put them off, if you're charging 15 quid a ticket for 2 adults to come and watch some club racing, they're not going to pay 30 quid to come in and view that. However, you turn around and say, stick a £5 in, okay. So, I mean, 4 adults coming in to watch some club racing is a lot worse than 100 adults that come in at a £5 a go, and they buy some food while they're on site, and they maybe buy a couple of other little bits.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But that's it. I mean, we need these people coming in with the younger generation, even if they're there for an hour. I don't know, come along. Yeah. Oh, there's some local racing on. Oh, look, there's some cars going around the circle. The younger generation come along with them and go, Dad, Mum, I love that. It was fantastic. I want to go again. Boom, you've got someone hooked there. For the people that don't know it's going on, you're missing out so much. Just come on, circuit organisers. That's a biggie.
Yeah, circuit organisers. I know a lot of championships. I know Bark put it on their various championships to do their own sort of PR.
Mm-hmm.
But again, with and that's potentially where you and Steph can come in, Nick. With Club Racing UK, that's half the reason why you guys started this, is because club racing is awesome, and you want to put it to the masses.
Everything is awesome. Yeah, well, it is. That's what we're going to try and do. It's one we're going to champion quite a lot. To be fair, I mean, by all means, get in touch if you want your race weekends, shouted about. We can put it to the other people out there. I mean, let's be honest as well. How many of us club racers race but don't go to other race meets? I mean, we should support other clubs, other series and things like that. But
yeah, I mean, to be fair, there's been a few times when I've popped up to Castle Coombe or just tried to go just to watch a bit of a different racing where the racing's going to be good, and you kind of think to yourself, well, you've still had a decent day.
Just on this subject though, like, I mean, obviously at the moment, before anyone puts in the comments, obviously things have changed a little bit with spectators. We're talking about when it's all gone back to normal. But I mean, for instance, when you sign up to a race meet, how many free tickets do you get given? Is that costing them money? Is your race entry fee paying for that? Some places you get 5-6 tickets. Why not just give the tickets to the teams that are there, and those free tickets give away? Like, give them to your local school
can you guys,
or something like that.
Can you guys remember the World Series by Renault? They used to. Yeah, it used to be you would have Formula Renault 3.5, European Formula Renault, Clio Cup Europe, and all that coming. But do you know how they got tickets to that event mainly? They would give it away for free in magazines like French Performance Car Magazine and places like that. They would give the tickets away for free. Silverstone would then be packed with people that would turn up for the day, pump loads of money in, because you turn up and you want to buy, a program for a £5, maybe buy a T-shirt that says "I love Renaults." Why you do that, I don't know, but
you drive a Ford,
but you know what I mean.
Don't comment.
Yeah, you drive a Vauxhall, mate, so you're normally broken down. But it's, do you know what I mean? Though you turn up, you spend your money, you're putting money into the circuit.
Mm-hmm.
And Ross Craig makes the point there: a circuit is a business, and it has to make money, otherwise there's no racing.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. They can make more money.
Yeah,
Mario Neofito.
But they don't have to have that. They don't have to have those money glasses on There you go. There's a screenshot if ever I've seen one.
Yeah.
You don't need to put your money glasses on and say, "Oh, we got someone coming in. We must charge them 30 quid." Charge them,
Exactly.
as you say, charge them a fiver, if that. Give them, as you. I love the one about putting them in your local magazine, because not only are you giving someone an opportunity to do something they've probably not done before, but you're also appealing to the right type of person. Obviously, opening the gates to any Tom, Dick, and Harry, you are asking for trouble. Granted.
Yes.
But if you put them to, like, I don't know, put them to your local college where you've got people learning mechanics and things like that.
Yeah.
Schools, anywhere. If you put it to the appealing masses, car clubs, give them to your local car clubs and stuff like that. Just get people through your doors. Come on.
Yep. Rob gone again, is he?
What's happened to Rob?
He has frozen.
Oh, Rob, you've gone.
There, Nick. You're back in hosting again.
Oh,
Oh, no, there he is.
you back?
I ran out of data. It's just, it's absolute. It's been one of those days. Sky are going to get a phone call in the morning, and
Anyone
now I've
would
got to spend
think
more
we
money.
know what we're doing.
Well, you make plans for these things, but unfortunately, it never goes well, does it, gents? Anyway, back to my point. Mario put it costs over 100 quid for a family of 4 to watch racing. Many families don't have that to spare. Exactly.
No, exactly that. I mean, I don't know. Again, like I say, correct me where I'm wrong, people, but we're all there racing. Surely it wouldn't go ahead if the circuit weren't making money anyway. So extra footfall in that door. I just think we just need a bit more forward thinking from organisers and clubs.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
The problem is it also gives that aura that motorsport is for a select type of people. I don't know. You should just be you should be inspiring people to come along and watch it. It's just.
Mario also makes the point. My students at the college where he lectures at would love free tickets.
That's it.
Exactly, because they're the ones that are going to benefit from it.
Exactly. They're going to come along and see, I don't know, some dirty, great big Jag singing on a 6 cylinders. You'll be fixed. You'll be hooked for life. You'll be like, oh, I want to do that. I want to do that. It will help people. And not just that, it's a good thing. Like we found out at Autosport, the amount of colleges that don't really push their students to go and get involved with racing. How many race teams do we know that would love a hand at the weekend? Well, if they don't know the bloody racing's happening, how are they? I was savvy enough that I got in contact with my local team, but I don't know, kids these days. Here you go. I sound like a right old man.
They might be a bit anxious to approach people because they have that thought of racing isn't for me because I can't afford it.
Yeah.
Whereas they're not able to find out that okay, you can afford it. Do it this way.
But if you get those people in the gate in first hand, they'll be closer to the racing than they ever would be sat at home, for instance.
Exactly.
Come on, guys. I'm going to be hounding organisers.
There we go, Nick.
We can help as well. We'll distribute. We don't mind. Just come on.
There we go.
Thinking, guys. Get people in through the door.
Another job for us to do at Club Racing UK this year, I'm sure.
Well,
okay, guys, I want to go on to a final point. There were a couple of people that got in touch with us concerning the likes of the C1 Cup and KAs, which we have,
and the City Cup too,
and the City Cup.
Don't tar us all with the same brush.
Yeah. Basically, the main point: it's not proper racing, as it's effectively too easy to get to the limit. And drivers cannot push themselves to do the ultimate performance. It's purely a business exercise. Basically, kind of saying that you need something that's more powerful, more this, more that, and go and push that to the limit because you're not pushing yourself to the ultimate racing limit. Now, I raced in what the C1s were before with the 2CVs, but with the modern take on stuff, I think it's best for you to make a point on this.
Well, what are we talking? Are we talking costing, or are we talking just pure out-and-out racing?
I think, judging by the comments we had, by a select few of people. It was the aspect of the racing. Obviously, driving a 60 horsepower Ford Ka or a C1 or a 107, or
I think you need
to be fair, actually 2 CVs or any other very low powered car.
Yeah.
I think you need to have experienced it to understand the full sort of experience of what you're doing. I know it's not fast, it's not high powered, but it's still a challenge to get that thing to put it on its limit and to get run that track fast. I mean,
yeah,
you know, there's a reason why Nick Tandy rocked up at the Enduro K.
And he loved it.
500 race. He loved it. So we spoke to a guy, I can't remember his name now. He was racing in a Civic, and he did a round in the KAs and actually managed to get, I think, about a second or a second and a half quicker in his Civic just because he'd driven in the KA.
I think that Vic Hope.
I think it teaches you to drive differently. You know, you haven't got. You haven't got the big brakes just to jump on them. Like, you haven't got the power just to power out the corner. You've got to learn how to carry as much speed as you can through that corner. And I think it's a different experience and a different skill
now
that you acquire, I think.
Yeah, I mean, my view on this is obviously, again, like Steph says, you got to experience it. When you got 30 cars all door to door, it is exciting. Now, I will
it's
say
all down
this,
to you. It's not down to your money or power.
No, one make series is a great. We all know that. KA is a one. You know, I'll use KA because obviously we've got a KA, so it's easier to talk about.
Yeah.
But you know, yes, it's low power, but what's to say? I mean, Steph, for instance, he's that side. It's his first ever race car. Matt's first ever race car. What's to say though? And this is my thing with it: is this is where the ladder system should come into place. You can, don't get me wrong, you can jump straight into a super fast car that scares the living crap out of you, but you'll never learn to drive it properly because it's too bloody scary. I get the argument of some people getting frustrated. Oh, these KAs, no, they're not race cars. They're not proper race cars. But once you've outgrown the KA, for instance, say you can go around every corner flat out. It's not a challenge anymore and it's boring. Move to the next level. Move up to the next thing. Move on to something faster.
The other thing is, it's the team aspect of it as well, and endurance racing.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you had a big, fast, powerful, whatever, if you took that endurance racing with a big team, that is going to cost you a lot of money, and it's not feasible. So doing it with these series means you can go with your mates, you can have big teams, you can have the full good laugh over the weekend, and it's door to door.
I mean, I'm not being funny. The proof is in the pudding when you have as many cars as you do.
We've got 100 C1s at Silverstone.
100 C1s. We've got over 50 KAs being made. The City Cup looks like it's exploded as well.
Because it's sort of that kind of, it's that level of endurance motorsport. I mean, before the C1s and the 2CV 24 hours, realistically, where else were you going to run a 24-hour or 12-hour race?
Yeah.
I guess your foot in the door as well. It's like myself. Obviously, this is the first car I've had, or race car. Or not say race cars, if you want to call it, but it's the first car we've had. We've hit the track. We've gone out there. We've absolutely loved it. Got hooked. So me and Matt have gone out and bought a Supercharged R53 Mini to get prepped to go into a different series. So and
I have some comments on this. A majority of the comments, right? I have not had anything come through that agrees with. Okay, so we have Carl Graves has come in to tell the likes of Nick Tandy that if all the cars are the same, you have a race on. Callum McDougall, I disagree. It's very competitive and very hard to get the most out of both KAs and C1s, as it is with all cars. If anything, making the limit more accessible makes the racing more enjoyable. Chris Buxton, as a commentator, I've gotten just as excited about Clio Cup racing, Clio Cup racing as I have about GT or single seaters. Okay, Clio Cup may be a little bit more expensive, but I think what he's saying is maybe lower powered series isn't all about having. Yeah. It isn't all about having 250 horsepower and
I mean,
going racing.
I get the frustration of some teams that obviously are doing like Arrive and Drives, for instance, in bigger, more powerful, probably what you would class as a race car. But then someone decides they want to go race a K instead. I get that frustration, but at the same time, I don't know, market it a little bit better. You know, if it's
Yeah.
you know, as we covered in our last podcast, it's also the bang for buck you get. You know,
Yeah.
£8 a minute to sit in the seat.
Yeah.
You can't
You got
beat it.
And I think
a comment from Kester Cook saying that he started in a low power car, and it really helped with his racing. It takes a lot of skill to keep your speed up in the lower power corners.
Yeah. Mario Neofitu, right? Rob and I raced with a combined power of 290 horsepower between our two cars, and we had a blast, close racing. So, okay, not as low as C1s or GTs, but again, there's more people making the point that it is more difficult to get an underpowered car to the front of the grid.
Yeah.
And again, drawing on my experience with 2CVs, I was never at the front. It was a skill. You had to, you know, they drafted like NASCAR. You really had to, you knew the guys that were there for years that were quick because they were so underpowered. You had to do it in different ways. And you couldn't just sit in the car and go, bloody hell, this, you know, Alan Gow raced a 2CV for a bit of fun. He wasn't at the front runners and he respected what other people were doing because he knew how difficult it was to get the maximum out of the car. And again, we drew back on the likes of Nick Tandy turned up, Rob Gravitt turned up, the 1990 British Touring Car Champion, Lewis Plato races in the Carrera Cup. You know, Damon Hill is coaching mates to drive KAs with Graves Motorsport. You've got these people. So it's not just, I think one insinuation that I came across was that it was kind of turning into a bit of a stag party atmosphere. Turn up, have a laugh, bend a few panels. Oh, isn't this all jolly? We'll do a 24-hour race and then piss off to the pub. It's not like that at all.
No. So some teams, maybe it has been, but it's, I mean, I've certainly not come across it myself, but yeah, I think as well, going back onto the point of obviously driving, yes, it's easier to get to the limit of, again, a KA, for instance. You can drive, you know, more corners are flat out. Like, I don't know, Paddock Hill Bend, for instance, is nearly flat out in a KA. Maybe a slight lift. Obviously, in a big race car, it's not. But at the same time, when you're all doing it, if you make the tiniest mistake, you get eaten alive. They're all so level. You make a tiny little cock up, boom, you've lost 6 spaces. It teaches you perfect racecraft. I mean,
and the thing is, because I look back at this point as well, and I looked at the times from the 8-hour race that you guys got the podium at last November, and I looked at the times of the more experienced guys. There wasn't a massive gulf. It was so close because I think it's the finest of margins, and you've all got to get those margins added up to get to the front.
I mean, I've said it in the past. The reason I came and did the KAs, not only for cost, but obviously I competed in my Vectra, and I was at the back of my class. It was slow as poo, and it really dented me confidence in the fact that, well, actually, I don't feel like I can actually pedal a car. Yet getting a KA, bloody hell, last race we did back in October, I shared the podium with a Le Mans winner. So in actual fact, I'm a bloody professional.
Not quite.
No.
So in a nutshell, we're saying that it is proper racing.
Yeah.
And
summarizing.
And you do have to push yourself.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair as well, at that Brands Hatch round, okay, Nick, you said you took paddock nearly flat, but how many times did both you, Matt, Stefan, and I'm sure most of the other cars on the grid get it sideways, make a mistake, break the foot, break the grip of the car, and get the car sideways?
Oh, we should have put the clip on. Never mind.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll find that. Actually, we'll play that clip in the next podcast of Steph having his little moment at paddock. We might have to edit the swearing.
Oh, we can't edit the swearing afterwards because it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. It's fantastic.
It's
so
going back last point on this. It's literally just give it a go. And I mean,
I think everyone should.
Don't knock it until you've tried it. It's certainly not, we've said it countless times as well. Yeah. When I grew up, I never wanted to race a KA. It certainly wasn't on my wall as a bloody poster. It really wasn't. When I grew up, I wanted to be a BTCC driver. I mean, look at BTCC is a fine example, isn't it? Going back to like the one make series, is granted it's astronomical money, but all these cars are within, you know, you look at the Brands Hatch Indy event with BTCC, you got the first 25, 30 cars within a second of each other.
Yeah.
You get that in a KA.
Yeah, you do. You do. Vicky Pratt makes the point. It's all about smiles per mile. I like that saying. That's quite good.
That.
A racer will race anything, even suitcases on wheels at the airport. If you've watched the Grand Tour, that is literally the case. Patrick Seal. It's really simple. Racing is racing. Get some wheels on it and go and race it. It's about the competition and the teamwork. And that's half of it as well, lads. Half of the laughs that we had last year, well, actually 3/4 of the laughs we had last year were us. Stood next to the car, sat next to the car with a cold beer. We made some great friends. And you know what? You know, there's not many people that turn around and go, oh, that's naff. It was a good laugh. And this weekend will be the same when you guys go and do it again.
Yes, it's going to be brilliant. I'm really looking forward to this weekend.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, firstly, I want to apologise for my poor internet issues. We will have that fixed by the next...
That's all right. I just wanted to mention, obviously, we've got the competition winner video. Remember, don't sign off yet.
Oh, right, you haven't done the competition winner. Okay. Well, with that, then, we put it over to Ian. Nick did a video earlier to announce the winner of HRX £100 gift voucher competition.
We did. Good evening, everyone. Nick here from Club Racing UK. Just going to announce the winner of our HRX £100 gift vouchers. I want to say massive thank you again for the response on our competition. So we've done our usual. We put all of our names into a random name generator right here. So yeah, good luck everyone. Here we go.
Josh Bennett.
Well, hey, so well done, Josh. You've won yourself £100 worth of HRX gift vouchers. Give us an email, drop us an email or a message, whatever, and we will sort this out for you. Well done, guys. Thank you very much. We'll announce our next competition in the coming days. Cheers.
Yeah, fantastic, guys. Well done, Josh Bennett. That's a cracking prize to win.
Loving the wallpaper.
Do you know what? I'm going to apologise now to anyone who is watching the live stream, because what's worse than one Nick? There's two Nicks. But yeah,
love it, guys.
All seriousness, I know Callum's watching as well, but I want to say a massive thank you to HRX. He's done so much for this club recently, and all club racers, to be fair. So yeah, fantastic prize of £100 worth of gift vouchers, and yeah, Josh Bennett, well done, mate.
And I've got my new suit from him on its way, which I'm not going to get to wear this year.
You can wear it when you're moving house.
Wear it at the Burkett.
That's I can wear it at the Burkett. Yes, I do plan to do the Burkett this year. But with that, gents, we come to the end of our podcast. The one thing I want to take away from this, to anyone that's watched this tonight and thought, okay, they were probably a bit miffed for what we said, we're here to discuss things. We want to interact with the club racer and talk about the issues that affect you. So if there's anything else you want to add, get in contact with us. There could be another podcast out of this. You know, it's an evolving situation, especially with COVID. And, you know, if there's anything you want us to talk about, get in touch.
Yeah, definitely. We are a neutral party in all of this. So, well, this is why we set up the paddock, wasn't it? It's a good old chat.
Yeah.
A good old.
A
good place for everybody to get together of any club. Any you know, you could race for 750. You could race for Bark. I know MSV, whoever, but you can all come and hang out in our paddock and just have your say. That's what it's about.
Just share pictures. We love a picture.
We do
Exactly.
love a picture. In fact, we've actually got 15 minutes left of our profile picture competition as well. God, we're giving away all.
I think you're going to win it though, Nick. The ice cream.
You are.
Well, I think the winner is
with your ice creams on there.
Has that got the most votes?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to have to look at it because mine all just say 3 votes. I don't know why my Facebook always plays up. But...
Fantastic, guys. Well, yes, again, sorry for the earlier technical issues with my internet. I will promise to get that sorted for episode 7 onwards. I've been Robert Lewis, the man above me. 2 weeks today. The men above me have been Stefan Marsh, Nick Holmes. Thank you again to Ian Waterhouse and the guys at MySuper, especially for Ian taking over while I have my technical issues. Good night. God bless. Stay safe,
See you
and
later,
we'll see
guys.
you in 2 weeks.
Thank you very much.